And I'm streaming.
We're good. Streaming, recording in progress.
Thank you to everybody for being patient with our technological concerns. And with that, I will open the meeting for Thursday, November 30th, the BOCES for Rimsel. And the first thing we always do is do introductions. My name is Dr. Carrie Olson, and I'm the president of BOCES, and I represent Denver Public Schools. And we'll go to
Angela Christensen, representing Woods Public Schools.
Becky Myers, representing Douglas High School District.
And we'll go to everybody online.
I can go first. My name is Brianna Mestas, and I'm representing PEBC, the Public Education and Business Coalition.
Hi, I'm Anne Egan with Cherry Creek School District.
I'm Michelle Ortiz, representing Aurora Public Schools, and today will be my last meeting.
Thank you so much for your service. We're really glad you could join us for today. And with that, I'll have Chad introduce himself and his staff and our guests.
Chad Burns, Executive Director at Remsel.
Julie Stelzer, Finance Director at Remsel. I want to introduce our auditor, since I was waiting for this time. This is Allison Slide from Clifton Larson. She's going to present the audit later.
Great.
Ms. Beneteau, Enrollment Coordinator at Remsel, and if I could make a please request with this thing running, it's really hard to hear, so anybody who speaks, speak really loudly, so I'll be able to pick it up in the minutes, please.
Definitely, we will do that. We will remember to speak up, so thank you. And would one of the students like to introduce the group and where you're from? Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm part of the high school student government body. We also have some of our shadows here today to show us a little bit of the student government inner workings and just shadow the high school. I know that Jake is also here as the student government representative, and then I know that there's also wood chopping and middle school representatives and making issues. So
Great, welcome. We're really glad that all of you are here. And just so you know, this meeting is being live streamed and recorded. So your images will be recorded and saved on YouTube just for the people who are shadowing. I know the students who are here and regularly know that, but just so the rest of you know. And then the adults, the staff and visitors, would you just like to introduce yourselves?
My name is Eric Dinkle. I'm the high school science teacher and student government coordinator. And I guess woodchopper coordinator too.
Many hats at Remsel.
I'm Margaret Pearman. I am a parent and I am the chair of the Remsel District Accountability Committee.
I'm Jay Weaver, a member of the District Accountability Committee.
I'm Minty Lever, former parent at Remsel.
Welcome. Well, we're really glad that you're all here. Thank you. So with that, I will call the meeting to order, and our first agenda item is the approval of the agenda for today for Thursday, November 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Perfect. Our second item is the approval of the minutes from October 26, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from October 26, 2023?
I move to approve the minutes from October 26, 2023.
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Perfect. And with that, I will pass it over to our executive director.
All right, thank you. You have a copy of the Executive Director report in your packets. I want to go through just quickly a few things so we can turn it over to our auditors to be efficient today. The first thing is just a season of Thanksgiving and a thank you to our Remsel community. We did two flash fundraisers this month. One was a Friday $5 flash fundraiser that was held on November 2nd that raised $1,600, $1,629, and that was to fund 12 students accepting an invitation to attend the reservation as their donation of firewood was received by the community. And those students will speak to that today during the report that the elders of the Oglala Lakota tribe welcomed the students and our attending staff to participate during their visit as an extension of gratitude for their donation. Our students attended in solidarity and respectfully received the blessings of the elders. This was a transformative and powerful experience for our students to engage with the Native community. And the students are continuing their weekly wood shopping, which grows weekly in the number of student participants supporting the collection of firewood for the continued donations throughout the winter months and into the spring. We also participated in a flash fundraiser for the Denver Rescue Mission, where this year the estimate per pound for Thanksgiving was $2.50 per pound. And we yielded 360 pounds of turkey donations, which we delivered on Friday, November 17th. And the Denver Rescue Mission attempts to provide 15,000 turkeys every single year. And so I appreciate our kids coming together in our community to supporting this drive and giving back. Thank you, guys. Last week is a time for teachers to pause from classroom instruction and take the Monday and Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving break and engage in what we call curriculum camp. This is 2 full days of learning and professional planning for the next series of case studies. It is just the staff wants to pass along the gratitude for the board, the parent community for making these days work in our calendar, because they are extremely important for us to do the work that we do as an expeditionary learning community. Thank you to coaches John Steen and Leah Wesselman in the back who organized this time and support our teachers and staff. And once again, just want to thank everyone for understanding that we have these 3 days in August, 2 days in November, and 2 additional days in February that are true full day sessions of preparation and planning versus isolated hours of time. Upcoming, the board has invitations as well. We have 2 exhibitions of student learning. The first one is next Thursday, December 7th, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And then the next one is Thursday, December 14th for our secondary grades, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Parents, guardians, family members, and extended community are welcome to attend these school events. Students will share artifacts and presentations of learning as tied to their first semester case studies. So board has those optional invitations as well. We're actively in the process of living in 2 school years and enrolling students for next year. The lottery is currently open until January 31st at midnight. And we are actively seeking to partner more closely with the Aurora Public School District as a continuing partner for families that are looking for expeditionary high school options outside of the full capacity of William Smith High School. And then we were also introduced to the school liaison for the Buckley Air Force Base to share additional opportunities to service members residing on base. So trying to do some outreach in more diverse communities and extend our partnership with ensuring families in Aurora Public Schools have access. Tuesday and today, our 8th grade students internally are shadowing the high school to determine if continuing as a K-12 Rimsel student is in their interest. And Eric, as well as student government and our alumni, hosted an alumni forum last evening here, where we have a panel of students that shared with shadow families and extended Rimsel community things that they're doing as graduates and the success that they found as being students here at our school. The software program runs the lottery on Monday, February 5th, which then opens the acceptance, relinquishment, and shadow opportunities for prospective families outside of the Rimsel community. Want to thank Nichelle Ortiz, or Director Nichelle Ortiz, for her service from the Aurora Public School Board. Director Ortiz supported her board of directors in the continued partnership with Rimsel as an educational option within the district. And during our presentation on October 24th, Director Ortiz shared her personal experience as a parent who participated in our annual open house, lottery, shadow, acceptance, and relinquishment period for student enrollment. She shared with her community, as well as fellow board members, that Rimsel has a transparent process that also provides communication regarding financial aid to all families, along with support in responding to parents as they select school choice options for their families. Please join me in thanking Director Ortiz. Michelle, would you like to say anything before I continue?
Just thank you for the opportunity to, serve on this board and learn more about the amazing opportunities and work that's being done at Rimsel. And I think that's it. Thank you for your service as well, Chad, as you wrap up your tenure as well. So thank you to everyone.
In addition to that, November is the time in which school board elections happen and oftentimes can cause transition upon our board. But our board, Director, unless there's something, a misunderstanding, will continue as the representative from Cherry Creek through the conclusion of the school year, and Director Egan was reelected to an additional four-year term serving the Cherry Creek School District. So please join me in congratulating Director Egan on her reelection and continued service.
Thank you.
All right, the last one, we have our own defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets have selected the next MVP, and unfortunately is not the Joker. Sorry, Nuggets fans in the audience and Nuggets fans in the room. MVP teacher as nominated from a student is Mr. Eric Dinkle, and he is here with us today and was selected by the Denver Nuggets organization to be their most valuable player, most valuable teacher. So congratulations to Eric. So Eric gets to attend a game with his family members, receives 4 tickets to an upcoming game and an additional $1,000 for a classroom grant on behalf of the Nuggets organization. And Eric is certainly deserving of this honor as he continuously finds ways to keep students engaged and connected with their school community. And just once again, thank you for all that you do, and a great recognition, well deserved.
Yeah. Another round of applause. All right, I'll open it up to any of my board colleagues who have any questions or comments. Thank you, as always, Chad, for a really good report. Anybody have anything they'd like to share? So I would just like to also personally thank Michelle Ortiz, because without your help, we wouldn't have been able to get in front of the Aurora board and explain everything and get such a firm commitment to keep RIMSL going. So I know that was a lot of extra work at the end of your term when we're all tired, but I really appreciate the extra effort that you put in, and we really appreciate your service. And to Ann Egan, I'm so glad that you'll be returning. I know it's a lot of extra work for you, especially as Cherry Creek is rolling off, but I'm really glad that you'll be able to continue. So thank you. And to the whole RIMSL community, thank you for all of the ways you came together around the rescue mission and for the Ogallala tribe. That's amazing. So, all right. And I know we're going to keep it short because we need to keep moving on. So with that, I will turn it over to the student government. Remember to speak loudly.
So 8th grade doing long science episode 4th and 5th grade, learn about actions and percentages, and then the real world problems, also using creative solutions, and this can really improve the like problem solving and also have them a fun time doing it. And also doing narrative writing to expand their creativity, and that's really fun too. They're also gonna go to the Wax Museum to learn about its history. And also in their service is going to be at a pet shelter where they can be animals as well as help their community, and also going to be making a bake sale food together, which and all these activities can really make it like a lot more interesting and make this really a lot better. In 6th grade, they went to something about nature and also to the world. Once they came back and followed this lunch, they're making a travel guide, and then they're gonna use this money to help this school. And it also kind of you. Then too, we're also gonna be building on the name of one of the schools at the Open Wildlife Center, and then in humanities, writing origin stories for Native American monsters, which can really help them get creative and different stories. Also, too, they're gonna see the United Nations, and like some deep from the United Nations is coming to teach them about sustainability development goals, which can, and all of these activities can really help them have a lot of fun and learn so much at the same time. In 7th grade and humanities, we learn about the death of Julius Caesar, and like making it like a times where somebody will be annoyed and stuff. In science, we're making new Goldbergs. We're gonna like show them all to the teachers once we finish them. literacy, we're learning about the wars began and how it's been impacting everyone. And we're gonna be right there. And then also in math, and learning about ratios and constant proportionalities. And all of these can, they show that many is always fun too. It may be when I about agriculture and food sustainability, not the omnivores and demographic and litter, but that's in literacy and humanities when they about the legislative process that affects us in science for making the children's book about all kinds of waves and and that can always be done to really do.
Yeah.
Good job. That's a really good recap of all that you're doing. So fabulous. Does any, oh, yes.
I'm Sam Flanagan, and I'm also in student government. And since we have started our high school student government, we have started a lot of projects for high school. We are working on planning prom and middle school dance. We have planned and made groups for the school's yearly Olympics. We also started the weekly Wednesday, which gives everyone an overview of what each grade is doing. We have decided that the family groups will be meeting December 20th, January 17th, February 7th, and March 27th. We will soon be sharing the family groups to each keep as well. Middle school dance planning is going well with the budget, and everything should be running through the day on December 7th. We have a venue for prom, and the current sheet shows them you can now look at every other family aspect.
I'd also like to state, sorry, that, there was a parents' night out that was scheduled for today. There was not enough registration, so we are going to push that back to around the Valentine's Day, as we believe that that might be a better time to allow parents time off and enough warning, as well as just, whatever they need to do. So we'll be raising money through prom from that parents' night out around Valentine's, as well as Valentine grants around that time.
Right. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't have, but the wood chopping crew had something that.
Oh, great.
Hello, I'm Isaac.
I'm Allison. I'm Grace.
We're like the leadership group of the wood choppers. So this is just an update about our trip that we went on recently. We left Thursday, November 9th, right after school. We drove to Nebraska and set up at a campsite. And then the next day, we drove into South Dakota, into the Pine Ridge Reservation, where we met Dave and other people working with the TV grazers, and we planned out our schedule for the day. The first house we visited was Nabi, an elder who lives on the res, who does a lot of work for the community and stuff. But he's been unable to recently because of age and health issues. So we dropped off our firewood there, along with unloaded furniture and food boxes. And his house is basically just a place where people can come to get these things, firewood, food, furniture.
After that, we visited at the White Butterflies house, another family in the Lakota tribe on the Pine Ridge Reservation, where we also dropped off food boxes to their house. We assembled furniture in their home. We put in a bed, a couch, I think 2 beds. I want to speak a little bit on the connection that we made with this family. It's a tricky social construct, having people just come into your home and give you things when you don't know them. They recently found a cat living under their house who had just had a litter of kittens, and we were able to connect kind of through those kittens. At the prior house where Nabi was living, we didn't have any connection with the children that lived there. And having those animals was a very a good bridge to meeting these people and building these connections that we probably would have been able to otherwise. So I just wanted to speak on kind of the universal language of love for animals and how that really was shown through on this trip. After we visited at the White Butterfly's house, we dropped off some other firewood that we had in a different vehicle at another family's house on the reservation. Yeah.
And then we went to something that was pretty, I would say, intense for all of us. We went to the Wounded Knee Massacre site, where the tribe on the reservation was fired upon by the soldiers for doing the ghost dance, which is a dance in which is supposed to remove the colonizers from the land. But so they were fired upon, and at the site there is a mass grave or gravesite graveyard up on the hill. And we were able to visit there, and it was super strong and yeah, it was big. Being there, we were able to learn a lot and feel a lot, and it was something. Yeah.
So after we saw the Wounded Knee Massacre site, the elders invited us to participate in a sweat lodge. So they had heated up rocks for over 2 hours in a fire. And like they were red and glowing, and they put them in the middle. So there's this circular building, not really a building. It's a dome covered with hides and other materials. And they have a depression in the middle, and they put the red hot rocks in the middle of that. And then we went in, and they closed the door, and it was pitch black. And then they threw water on it, and they started the process. And the inipi goes through 4 cycles. After each cycle, they open the door and let all the heat out. And each cycle gets more and more intense. So the first cycle was just songs, and there were like six or 8 elders in the lodge with us who were singing tribal songs for us. And then after the first cycle, there was the second cycle, and that was the prayer cycle. And they were really open about it, they were open about it, and they said, like, if you don't believe in a God, that's totally fine. Just take this time to reflect. And it was a really good experience. Yeah. And then the third cycle was the most intense one. And like breathing is so much harder in there because like you're inhaling and hot air is coming towards your face, and it's very hot. It was, and like you're sweating really hard in there, obviously, but it's not like the gross sweat. Like after you've worked out, you're like, ew, I don't want to. Yeah, it was really nice, clean sweat. Yeah, I don't really know how to describe it otherwise. Like, it was refreshing. Yeah.
So, and then moving forward, we have a meeting with our contact Dave tomorrow after school, where the 4 of us, me, Allie, Grace, and Rachel, are going to meet with him and discuss goals and plans for the future, hopefully another trip coming up soon. And like a lot more future stuff.
So we just want to say thank you to the community for supporting us and the service opportunities. Thank you guys. for being
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. It's always so refreshing to hear from all of you and what's happening at Rensselaer. We really appreciate it. And we have the board. So, all right, we'll move on to open forum. Do we have anyone for open forum?
You didn't.
We do not. All right. So with that, we will move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes item number 1, personnel matters?
And it's with the consent agenda, item number 1.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Perfect. All right, we will move to discussion items. Do you want to do the semester 2 meeting schedule first, and then we'll talk about the executive director search?
Sure, that's fine. We had meeting transition times to accommodate the collective of our board, and we've done the last series of meetings at 9 o'clock. And with the transition, we'll be getting a new member from Aurora that would start with us in January. We kept the second half of the school year meetings at 7 a.m. and just want to verify with the board that they want to continue with 7 or they want to continue with the Thursday 9 o'clock sessions, because we can make those adjustments now and communicate.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you drive the farthest, but
I prefer 7 though.
okay, no, that's, well, I
It's
wanted
easier
to
to
check
drive
with
it.
you.
Yeah.
So, do you have a strong?
I'm fine either way, but I would also prefer 7.
Yep, and from Brianna and Anne?
I don't have a preference. I do appreciate your willingness to accommodate and have us join via Zoom. And please know that my goal is to be in person when Ishim is like a little bit more independent and I can join. But I don't have a preference and I will go with the group.
We understand you have a newborn, so that's perfectly fine to join by Zoom. And Director Egan, do you have a preference?
I actually prefer 9, but it sounds like the group prefers 7. So.
Great, thank you. We'll leave it at 7 and try that and see how it goes. And if we need to adjust at some point, and we can. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, so with that, we will move into the executive director search update. As you all know, that's part of the board packet for today. We only received 1 proposal for the executive director search from HYA. And I've sent it out to the full board for comments or questions regarding that today, because I do have it on the agenda for us to be able to vote and approve that. Our options would be, if the board doesn't feel that proposal meets our needs, we could reopen the search and ask for more companies to apply, but you've had a couple of weeks to review it, so I'm just wondering if there's any questions or comments from any of the board.
I mean, I was really impressed with HY's proposal. I think that we didn't have anybody to compare it with, and I think they did a nice job of completing everything that we asked for.
Agreed. Anyone else have any comments or questions about the proposal?
Yeah, I will just say that I appreciate that them outlining the phases that they'll engage in. It is really helpful to have that roadmap and to know what to expect. I'm particularly excited about the engage phase, where they'll be connecting with us as a board holistically, but then individually, and then with families, students. I appreciate that stakeholder engagement to really create a profile for what Remsel is looking for and what our hopes are. The one question I have, I don't have any background around the fee for their services, and so I will lean on you all who have who have been a part of this process, whether or not that seems reasonable and also fits within Remsel's budget, essentially.
You want to speak comparatively to 13 years of It's been a minute since we've done this, but this cost proposal is 19.5. It's within the alignment of a process from over a decade ago. So the costs from my weighing in, seems very fair, to what we went through before. They're also a national firm, versus in 2011, the board elected to use a local firm. And so I think they will have a good reach, and the price was less expensive than it was. So something that inflation didn't grab a hold of.
And I appreciated in their fee structure how they had the optional add-ons for things that we as a board could talk about once we approve this contract, what we'd like, and it would still be within the budget, from my understanding. I also appreciate their national reach, but their deep knowledge of the local area. They've done the search for the AP and Aurora, or for the superintendent in Aurora and for Littleton. So HYA knows the Denver metro area well, and I also appreciate the community's involvement. So all of you will have a chance to weigh in and tell us what your vision for Mercy for the future.
I concur with the price. To speak to your question, Brianna, I think that the price point in comparison to what we paid in Littleton, obviously different request and different ask, but I think it's very much in line. And we had, I believe, 4 or 5 firms apply, and HY was not the least expensive, but they were the most comprehensive. And they were very true to their word on those additional asks. So if we want to add on any of those new items there.
Okay, great context. Thanks, everyone.
Any other questions?
I have experience with this firm and just can, you know, attest for being able to reach folks when questions came up, and appreciated when they were available, them coming out and meeting us in person and just kind of going with whatever our board's needs was. I also found them to be pretty tech savvy, which I appreciate. I don't know if it'll all be the same, but there were, when it came to like the superintendent profile, there was a website that only we had access to. And it was like, I mean, they launched a website just for us to be able to utilize and do our, go through the selection efficiently. So I found that to be pretty cool. So just wanted to add in that my experience with this firm was very positive.
Great, thank you. So I know that the next item on our agenda is the audit and then to vote on this, but I think we could just jump to voting on this now. So with that, I would like to see if there's a motion to approve the request for proposal from HYA for the executive search firm.
I'm going to approve the request for proposal for the executive director search firm to go with HYA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Director Egan, did we get an aye from you, just to be sure? Yep, okay, good. Great, motion passes. We do have a contract drafted. Obviously, since they were the only search firm, we filled it in and we sent it back to our attorney this morning. And as soon as she's able to review that, we'll get it out to HYA and we will get this started. So thank you. All right, with that, we will move into the audit presentation. Want to say anything? Yeah.
This year's audit was supposed to start back on the 6th of October, but there were some staffing issues. And so it got started late, but Allison and Morgan, who was the field person, managed to crank through it and get us a draft audit. So yay for that. It was a busy week last week. So she's going to present the audit.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Julie. And yeah, appreciate the intro. I'm glad we were able to meet today and have us to present the draft audit, and happy to address any questions that the board might have, or if I missed anything, Julie, feel free to chime in. But always appreciate working with Rimzel and Julie, obviously being our main contact. There's a lot of lift for her to do other besides her day job, if you will, having to help us with the audit every year. So we do appreciate all the help with it along the way. So I think you all probably have this. I don't know if you have it hard copy or electronic. Sorry, okay, electronic. Yeah, great. So I'll refer to pages here, but if you all want me to slow down or back up or anything like that, just let me know. I have it just printed here in front of me. So we'll first go through the draft of the financial statements, kind of so you know the process, and this is typical in years past. This is in draft form. This has gone through my review as kind of the overall individual responsible for the audit. We do have a quality control review that happens, so that'll happen after this meeting. If there's any feedback from the board or any other comments, we'll make sure to incorporate. And then we'll get through that last process. And then there's one more process that Julie has to do to submit things to the state as well, and then we officially issue. But we wouldn't expect there to be any material changes with what you're seeing today. Obviously, if anything does change substantially, we'll communicate that to the board. So going right into the audit though, there's a table of contents just to kind of follow along. I'll just kind of cover a couple of highlights. We have the independent auditors report, which is a couple of pages in. This is our audit opinion. So we do plan to have an unmodified or clean opinion, again, on the financial statements this year. So that's the best opinion that an entity can receive. And so we do plan on issuing that again this year. So that's really the biggest highlight from the opinion in there. It talks about our responsibilities to auditors, management's responsibilities, financial statements, so just some additional context there. As you kind of go into the financials, a good section if you don't want to read all, gosh, it'll be 50 some pages, I think, of the financial statements. The management discussion and analysis or MD&A section follows right after our audit opinion. This is just a good high level look. Obviously we're about, 6 months after your year end, June 30th, 23, but it does show a look back of that year compared to the prior year, year ended 22. So it's more of a narrative and kind of just explains variances that happen year over year, some of the major drivers, but a good kind of couple pages of summary if you're looking for more of a quick read, if you will, versus the whole financial statement. So kind of just going through some pages unless there's any questions on those, but that just does give some summary if you wanted to dive into any of that a bit more. The next page, and this is really the focus of the audit, so I'll just spend a minute here, is the statement of net position. So it's hard copy page 11. I'm not sure on your electronic version here, but this is basically the balance sheet for RIMSL for the year ended June 30th, 23. And this is really the only time you get this all-in look because this has all of your activity shown. It has all of your capital assets shown, your debt shown, your net pension liability related to the piece of the defined benefit plan PARA that I'm sure you're all well aware of. RIMSL has their piece of that pie among other school districts and charter schools also. But this is really the time you get to see that all-in look. More the monthly financials you're used to seeing are on a shorter term focus, but this is required once a year to show this on this long-term full accrual focus is what we call it. So really the biggest takeaways then, if you will, from an operational standpoint and how the year ended up on page 12, statement of activities. This is the income statement on that kind of all-in look. It shows total expenses of about 5.6 million. You do have revenues of about a little over 5 million. And so you did end up fairly flat from a full accrual position, ended at 2.4 million in terms of net position or equity for year end. And again, it's a little bit different than kind of your month-to-month operational of what you're seeing because you do have the debt activity of the pension activity, the capital asset activity shown there. The next couple of pages are more the numbers you're used to seeing from a monthly financials perspective. Page 13 is your governmental funds. So this is on that short-term focus. So it doesn't have capital assets shown. It does not have debt shown or pension activity shown. And it does show the two different funds that RIMSL has, general fund and building fund. You can see the total fund balance at year end, the audited number about 2 million for the general fund and about 732,000 for the building fund. The rest of the page just explain the differences between the numbers of kind of what I high level covered. So those are all required to be shown there. And overall, your income statement for each fund, there was an increase in your fund balance for general fund as well as a little increase in the building fund too. But that's how you got to that kind of 2,056,000 ending fund balance. Otherwise, there's a lot of pages after that are the footnotes to the financial statements to just explain the different accounting policies that RIMSL has, all the major kind of numbers I just briefly touched on, all the details of your cash and investment activity, your debt activity, a lot of pages related to the pension standard with PARA that's required. So just a lot of detailed reading if you're so inclined. But the biggest takeaway, nothing really new in terms of disclosures. There was a new accounting pronouncement for governments this year related to subscription-based IT arrangements. We, through our analysis and helping RIMSL, there was determined not to have any, but For those involved with, your school districts, you might hear that term. It's very similar to the lease standard that was implemented last year, where basically, before you might have just paid dollars out for leases. Now that actually has to come onto your books as a capital asset and offsetting liability. That was a similar concept with the subscription-based IT arrangements. For Rimsel, you didn't have any that rose to that threshold, luckily, but that's, if you hear that term, that's kind of where all governments had to go through that exercise this past year. So just wanted to mention that. And then just a couple little updates in the page 46 related to just the intergovernmental agreement activity with the member districts. We just kind of reiterate what you all obviously know from that perspective. So that was all I was going to cover in the financials, unless Julie, you had anything else you wanted to highlight or?
This is like the speed audit.
Yeah, it's all very fresh.
But we got it done.
Right.
Without an extra meeting.
Yes,
I know we were
yeah,
thinking,
I know, we all
maybe
appreciate it,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
We did, so there's two other just communication letters that again are draft form, but wouldn't expect them to change significantly. Because we are engaged with the board to perform the audit, there's certain required communications we have with you all from a board perspective. So really the first letter kind of says significant audit findings or issues, qualitative aspects in the middle. This just kind of summarizes any sort of major changes during the year. I already kind of mentioned not a lot of big changes, so really no news is good news in that letter. We did have a number of audit adjustments that we did assist to make sure the financial statements are materially correct. So those are just attached for your reference related to the financial statements. So that's just more as an FYI. And then we do have the last letter that's attached to that is the management representation letter. And so that'll be a letter that we do get signed by management before we issue the audit. Basically, making sure that management let us know about any litigation going on. They gave us support that we asked for, kind of a laundry list of items there that they agreed to. So that's again, just a FYI document. And then the last one I'll just cover real briefly is our findings and recommendations document. So this is pretty similar to years past. I think we've covered this before, but there's kind of different levels of findings, if you will. So material weaknesses is kind of the most significant or impactful, if you will, type of finding. Then a step down from that would be a significant deficiency. And then a step down after that would be internal control deficiency. So we did have, one material weakness finding just based on the dollar amount threshold. So we're kind of bound based on how big things are, if you will. There was some cleanup items related to how the bond is paid from a principal and interest standpoint. There's some trickiness, if you will, between how general fund interacts with the building fund and vice versa. So we were able to work with Julie and getting that all corrected. So that's within your financial statements, but just wanted to mention that. And then we did have a couple items. I think these are all repeats from the prior year on significant deficiencies. Just given the size of Rimsel, it's hard to have a full separation of duties. The risk, if you will, is having someone being able to enter transactions, putting them into the financial system, approving them, and writing or dispersing payments. So on a small organization, it's hard to fully separate every function kind of as that relates to. So it's really the big thing is just the board being aware of that. And your kind of oversight is just emphasizing the oversight of asking questions about the financials, being engaged, that sort of thing is kind of a good mitigating control, if you will, over small organizations such as Rimsel. So and then we do assist Rimsel with preparing the financial statement. So it's always important for both management and the board to understand that we cannot be an internal control for the school. So having your review, oversight, comments, that sort of thing with the financial statements is also equally important. And then we do, there's always just some timing and recognition issues with revenue. That was just one of the correcting entries that we do typically make every year. So nothing overly concerning. I think the financial statements in front of you, given the audit adjustments we were able to work through, are materially correct. I think, Julie certainly and everyone else that helps support her does a great job in making sure things are, proper and doing the best you all can do, given the size of the organization. So, nothing new, if you will, in terms of, an issue or anything like that compared to last year. So, that was really my just high level overview of where we ended up, but I'm happy to address any questions or if you wanted to add anything else, Julie, as well.
No, I don't have anything to add.
Other than relief.
Really on to the next thing.
Yeah.
There was some of the adjustments she was talking about have to do with funds being transferred from Remsel to the building fund to pay down principal and interest. So it's how they flow through the building fund. And I left out a chunk in the middle. I took it from one to the, so we have a better process now.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments or questions from my board colleagues?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you to both of you. I appreciate all the work. I know it's a tremendous amount of work, and that I'm going to see you next week. So, yep, we have a lot of confidence in the firm and really appreciate hearing the clean, unmodified opinion. And again, just thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll just echo the same thing. Thank you both for all you, Julie, you always make it so easy for me to understand everything that's happening. So thank you and your dedication. Really appreciate it. And thank you again for all your work. Really appreciate it. So with that, we do need to take a vote to accept the audit that was proposed to us today and discussed. So do I have a motion to accept the audit? I motion to the audit. Sorry. And do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Great. Audit passes. And with that, we will go to you for the budget report.
Everyone wants to stay for this?
I can read this might be a good.
And thank you again, all of you, for coming. It's great to see you here. Come back again. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for the updates.
Well, that was. Really don't have such an audience for an audit, so.
Right,
Yeah.
We all need to you, Allison.
The teacher in me wants to ask him, what did you get out of that?
Right.
Who wants to go into his mouth?
Yeah, right.
That's my daughter said.
We do have a high school program, so we're high school internship. We're going down and down in the levels, so yeah.
Thanks for making the effort to. be
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Thanks for having me and happy holidays, everyone.
Yes,
We'll be in
thank
touch,
you.
Julie. Yeah.
All right,
Thanks, everyone.
back to the riveting discussion.
Would you send us that high school opportunity?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely will. We just, last year was a pilot program for us, so we haven't had it in Colorado yet, but I think it's coming. So yeah, I'll definitely send it to you. Yeah, thank you. All right, good to see you guys.
So everyone should receive the current financials through October 31st. The management summary on the front speaks to all of the changes. Any variances we have, any transactions we have with the bond, paying for the other things we have to do with the bond, like the trust organization, like Moody's. We pay Digital Assurance Corporation, VAC, to take the information and disseminate it to Emma, which is the stock market, what our bond investors are looking at. So they provide that level of expertise, which I do not have. Nothing in there is unusual compared to the September 30 statements. My next big project is to get our human resources report done, and then the revised budget that you'll see in January. And that budget, there is a possibility we're gonna have to go into the reserve, just because of the low enrollment and the fee for HYA, those kinds of things. But I'll know better when I get to that point. So, and we'll come with a resolution. Are there any questions about the financials? Does anybody want to sit with me at any time and go through them?
I don't think, sorry, I should see if there's somebody else who wants to say anything before I just chime in. I think once we get the contract approved for HYA, you know, they have the optional things that we can add on. I would love to sit with you and just think about what would it look like to add on some of the different things, because I think some of those are some essentials that we might want to consider, but I don't want us to go too far in the hole, but I do want to make sure we do a really good search. So I'd love to sit with you and kind of level set around that. So I'd be happy to sit with you. Oh, great. That'd be great. Yeah, and you have experience with HYA and those things. That'd be great. So we'll pin that once we get the contract signed and all that hurdle, then we'll find the time to talk. So.
Yeah, and I think it would be helpful for me. I would like to join that conversation essentially. Just to continue learning and to make sure that I'm like I have a really strong understanding. Yeah. So please include me in that.
Well, that'd be great. Actually, we could make it open to everybody. We could even do it on a Zoom. In case even the general public would like to hear what we're thinking and what some of the options are and what we can afford. So also we'll get the timeline out to everybody so that once we start working with HYA, that website, thank you again, Chad, for adding that tab. The proposal is there, and then when we get a timeline set up, we'll have the timeline put on the website, so you all can send that out and people will know where we are, and we'll get moving and excited. We really have a lot of confidence in HYA. I'm looking forward to working with them. So, all right, items for future agenda. Which will be, I guess, in January. We might need to have a meeting in December, just depending on the contract. Yeah.
The HYA contract?
Yeah, if we want to discuss as a board what options we want to add. But other than that, we won't be meeting with everybody until January. So I would like to take this opportunity to wish everybody a wonderful holiday season and winter break and enjoy December. And again, a huge thank you to Nichelle for this being her last meeting. We really appreciate your service and we look forward to welcoming a new member from Aurora. So, thank you, everyone. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.